Hi, thank you for joining us and welcome back to the Bet442 YouTube channel today. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at different forms of headgear in horse racing and how headgear can affect a racehorse's performance on track. So why do we use headgear in horse racing? Most racehorses can obviously rely on their natural talent and ability when it comes to winning races. However, some racehorses can often show signs of laziness and inexperience when racing, and therefore need a bit of a helping hand when turning up to the races. So for example, some forms of headgear are used to calm and relax racehorses pre and during a race, while other forms of headgear are used to keep the horse focused on what's ahead rather than what's racing behind or beside them. So it can be a useful tool obviously for punters when looking at the race cards. So we're going to look at the racing taking place at Doncaster today. We're going to use at the races to show the race cards. One thing I would say is if you are using at the races to check out the race cards on a daily basis, you can always find the headgear or horses that are wearing headgear in this column here. So where we've got the age, weight and overall rating, if there is a little letter here next to the horse's name, you will this obviously shows that this particular horse is wearing some form of headgear. So some of the most popular types of headgear in horse racing that you will often find is you'll often find horses wearing blinkers, visors, hoods, cheek pieces, tongue straps, nose bands, things like that. I'm going to run you through a few of the races here at Doncaster today and just break down some of the examples and forms of headgear and how they differ from one another. So this horse here is listed as wearing a tongue strap today. So a tongue strap basically is used to tie down a horse's tongue and stop the tongue impeding the breathing process during the race. So obviously some horses can often race with their tongues out of their mouths, and obviously this can interfere with how they breathe, which in turn will obviously stop the horse from running to its optimum. So connections here have felt that this horse has obviously raced with its tongue out before. Obviously putting a tongue strap on will obviously aid this horse's breathing and obviously will make it run to its best ability. We've got another horse here listed as wearing a hood. So a hood is a piece of headgear similar to blinkers if you've come across them before. The hood is obviously designed to reduce noise and distraction for the horse, and is often used on nervous horses or horses that have raced maybe too freely or too keenly in the past. So we can obviously see that this is the case for this horse. If I Could Dream, it says here that it's raced too freely before in the past, and it says here that it's a likeable type who needs to settle better. So it's obviously been running well. It's finished in the frame the last four starts, but obviously in order to get that little bit more improvement where it can maybe get its head in front, connections have obviously felt like a hood is obviously the best method of headgear when it comes to this particular horse. So we're going to look for a couple more examples. We've got another headgear listed here. We've got two horses in this race listed as wearing blinkers. So blinkers are often probably the most popular type of headgear when it comes to horse racing. And blinkers are used on horses to try and get them to focus and concentrate on racing and not to be distracted by what is happening to the side or rear during the race. So it helps aid their concentration. So we're going to look for other forms of headgear. We've got a horse here wearing cheekpieces for the first time. So cheekpieces are basically two pieces of sheepskin of equal length that are attached to the horse's bridle down the side of the horse's head from its ear to its mouth. Cheekpieces are very similar to blinkers, not in appearance, but what they do for a racehorse. They obviously reduce a horse's range of vision and make the horse focus on what's happening in front rather than what's happening around them during the race. So again, most forms of headgear aid concentration. That's what I would go down as saying. There is obviously different forms of headgear that obviously have different purposes for different racehorses, but it tends to be a concentration issue for most of them. So we've got another abbreviation here. We've got the V next to this particular horse, which obviously means that this horse is wearing a visor. So again, similar to blinkers in appearance, other than the difference between a visor and blinkers is that a visor have slits cut into the eye cups, allowing a horse to have partial peripheral vision. But again, it is mainly there to aid concentration purposes. So obviously it's always best to have a look at the race cards, check out which horses are wearing headgear. There is some sites as well that will obviously show you horses that are wearing headgear for the first time, a bit like at the races did just then. But it is a tool that some punters use in order to gain an advantage, or if they see an advantage for a horse to be wearing headgear. So it's always worth checking out the race cards in order to find that out. So again, guys, if you are enjoying the content we are uploading and sharing with you all, please give the videos a like. We are also available on X, so please give us a follow on that platform as well.